Hello and welcome back to Retirement Ready TV, Cleveland's very best resource for important retirement information. I'm Michelle Davidson, and we are so fortunate to have Tim and Laura Schultz from Preservation Retirement Services. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
It's going to be a good show today.
Let's go. We got a lot to cover.
Lot to cover. Yeah, retirement planning can be such a daunting thing.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming. It can feel very far off.
It can.
But it can all start with just a simple conversation with someone like the two of you.
That's kind of where it starts, right, Laura?
Yeah, and people always ask us, when should you start having that conversation? And what do we always say, Tim?
Yesterday? Or at least today.
Today.
Yeah,
I mean,
today.
really, no matter how old you are, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, it's important to start thinking about these things. Your retirement plan might look very different if you're 20 versus 70, but you should have one and you should start thinking about that because everybody does retire someday.
They do.
All right, let's talk about diversification. We've heard that word a lot before, but sometimes it can
The D word,
Yeah, like
it's intimidating.
What does that mean? What does that mean? So how important would you say it's to be diversified? Because I know there's some basic rules of thumb, but the one thing we can always count on is change.
Yeah, true. You know, and for us, because we are distribution specialists, so you got to remember this. When you start, you're right out of high school, that first job right out of college, you're in that accumulation phase. And for 3-4 decades, your job is just to accumulate money, right? Put money into your 401k, maybe start up an IRA, maybe a Roth IRA. But when you get close to retirement, you get into that retirement red zone, and you get into that close to that distribution phase, you really need to think more about distribution.
And diversification. I mean, because when you're in those 20s, 30s, 40s, you just want your money to grow as quickly as possible. You can really handle, depending on your personal risk tolerance, being very much in the market because you have time. When the market is down, you're still putting money into your 401k, into your IRA. You're able to buy stocks at their lowest points, and you really can withstand those ups and downs of the market, which there are always going to be. It's when you retire and you're, as we say, voluntarily unemployed.
Yes, we do.
You're not adding to your retirement accounts anymore at that point. You're instead taking money out. And when you're taking money out, it's very hard for a portfolio to withstand stock market downturns. And we know, historically speaking, they are going to happen. So when you're able to diversify so that you have a piece of your portfolio that's safe from market downturn, you can really withstand those market up and downs that no matter who your advisor is, you're going to have them. If we have a place that's safe from market downside loss that we can pull income from, you're in a great position in retirement.
Okay, you just need to think, when retirement is so far out there, and you have 10, 20 years to go, when the market does go down, and it will, but it will also come back, you're okay because you have that time. But when you're getting close to retirement or you're in retirement or voluntarily unemployed, like we say, then you need to just protect yourself. You need to be diversified.
And that's really an important part of our retirement ready roadmap is really looking at how is your portfolio allocated right now. And if you are entering those retirement years, maybe it's time to take risk off the table for some piece of your portfolio.
Some, not all, but for some, sure.
And it really depends on your plan, how much and what that looks like. But it's an important conversation, at least, to sit down with somebody like Tim and I that isn't just going to say, oh, well, you're going to put all your money in the market and we'll just let it ride because the market will always do the best. You really want to have that conversation. Is it time, now that I'm getting close to retirement, to think about safeguarding or putting a piece of my retirement in a more conservative plan?
And then it all starts with that retirement ready review. Just sit down with somebody and get that review and make sure you're in the right plan, the right products that need to be there to get you to retirement.
And I want to feel like we have a strategy when it comes to diversification, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And, unfortunately, what we hear from folks all the time that come sit with us is, well, I sat down with somebody and all they talked about was product right away. They didn't talk about that strategy piece. And what your strategy is for retirement very much informs what investment tools we use. We don't want to start with the tools. We want to start, what is our strategy? What is our plan looking like? Then that helps Tim and I figure out, are we with a portfolio here with these folks that is more in the market? Are they very conservative and they really have a high income need in retirement? So we move more towards an income strategy. We have to figure out that first piece. And how important are taxes? What types of vehicles do we need to do to be as tax efficient as possible? That strategy really informs what investment tools we're going to use down the road.
That's a good point. We see that all the time. When people come to sit down in our office, they talk about, I have this product, I have this product, I have this product. Product is really the last thing that you need. Products will come into place when you have the plan and you know what to do. Everybody is so close a lot of times, but they just need that plan to get them to the end.
I love that. And right now we're going to take a quick break. But if you're watching at home and you'd like to get to know Tim and Laura and get their opinion on how it looks and how that plan looks and how it comes together, you can get a no obligation retirement ready toolkit and set up a call with Tim and Laura at Preservation Retirement Services to get your questions answered, because I am sure there are a lot of questions right now. Folks sitting out there being like, I want to know this, I want to know that. So they have to text something to the number on your screen, right?
It's just one simple number, 440-345-6900. One easy number.
And text ready. Just, are you ready to have maybe that plan for the first time? If you are, or at least start the conversation about, do you have a plan? What does that look like? Text ready, 440-345-6900.
A simple word to get that retirement ready toolkit. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
We went to Maine this summer. We go to Florida a couple times a year. We took the grandkids up to Michigan fishing, just living the dream right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing we really wanted to do, was travel and adventure in our retirement. And we weren't even sure before, what we'd be able to do. But after partnering with Tim and Laura, it's like, okay, we're good. Tim and Laura were able to show it to us, visually show us, where it would go and how it would grow and how to diversify. And that, we'd be able to actually have fun and leave a legacy for the kids. When we come in, it's like visiting friends, and it's a partnership. They educated us so much. I thought we were fairly, knowledgeable about it, but when it comes down to it, there was a lot of missing pieces that were more about preserving what we have. Everything that they do is, pinpointed to us. This is our family.
Take control of your future. Preservation Retirement Services. Get retirement ready. Call today.
Welcome back. We're with Tim and Laura Schultz with Preservation Retirement Services right here in Cleveland. And right now I'm going to put you two on the spot. Just a little bit. Okay.
Let's go.
So if you had to boil your vast knowledge down into three main points to consider for someone who hopes to retire in the next few years, what would they be?
Well, the first we were actually just talking about before the break, which is diversification. It's important as you're starting to think about retirement to check in. Where are you from a diversification? What we find all the time is people don't really know. They're like, I have a conservative plan. And then they come in, and what we see when we do an analysis of their portfolio is they're 90 or 100% in the stock market. Yeah. So the first is understand, where are you at? And at the same time, from a diversification, what is your risk tolerance level right now? And are those two things matching up? Because oftentimes, Tim, we have folks come in and they're like, I'm conservative. We do a risk quiz, and on a scale from 1 being conservative to 100 being aggressive, they're a 30, but their plan is an 80. Well, those two things don't match up. And what happens for a lot of folks, they set those 401k levels for risk way back when they started their job in their 30s, and they've never changed them. So they have a very aggressive portfolio, which isn't really where they are anymore as they approach retirement. So diversification, I think, is number one.
So think about that for a second, because it happens all the time. People come in and talk to us, and they're thinking about retirement. It's scary. And so when we sit down and analyze a portfolio, like Laura mentioned, portfolios are from like a 1 to a 99. Their portfolio is at a 70. And they're like, okay, I understand. That's kind of risky because they started it earlier. And then we give them a little risk quiz to find out what their risk levels are at.
How comfortable are they with loss now that they're going to retire here in 4 years?
30, and their portfolio is at a 70. I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, that's the first thing that somebody can do to eliminate any anxiety in their portfolio or in their retirement plan, is to make sure that their portfolio lines up with their risk comfortability levels.
And again, sitting down with a retirement professional like Tim and I, we can really give you the tools to be able to assess that. I mean, it's hard on your own to know. Most folks look at their 401k and they're like, I don't know what the such and such target date fund is.
Yeah, what is this word and what does that word mean and this? I don't know. I did this. I did that when I started.
Yeah, right.
And say, fingers crossed that works.
No.
I mean, I think tip number one is check in with a retirement professional about where is your portfolio at from a risk perspective, from a diversification perspective, and where are you from those same perspectives? Are those things matching up?
That's number one.
Number two, I think, is to start thinking about income.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people think about, they've been putting money away for all these years. For what? Well, for most people, it's to take money from in retirement, right? You have, as we joke, you're voluntarily unemployed when you retire, that paycheck goes away. And for most people, Social Security or a pension, because most folks these days don't have both, is not going to be enough to cover those monthly bills, right?
Yep. So think about that once again. You're working and that paycheck's coming in. You're so used to it, right? Every week, twice a month, once a month, whatever it might be. You're so used to that. And when you're voluntarily unemployed, it stops. So it's really up to you, the individual, to produce those paychecks. And that has to do with income. And we need to think about where it comes from.
And also at the same time, how much income do we need in retirement?
Right.
What is your budget? Those two go hand in hand.
Sure.
A lot of folks have just sort of been skating through life because they have plenty. They have two incomes coming in many households. That is more than enough to cover the monthly bills. They're in a surplus. They're adding to their savings every single month. In retirement, that is the exception, not the rule we find.
Sure.
So question number one, and some of our clients don't like it, we make them fill out that budget sheet because...
Don't hate us. It's important.
But our plan looks very different if you have a $2,000 a month budget versus a $10,000 a month budget. How much income we're having to pull from where? We really need to know what's your budget and how are we going to cover it? How much will come from Social Security? How much will come from a pension? Do you already have an annuity that provides income? Or do we need to manufacture retirement paychecks? That's a lot of what we spend our time doing to flesh out that income plan. How are we going to pay for you to do all of those things you want to do in retirement, whether it's go on lavish trips, whether it's make an improvement to your house, buy a car, whatever it is. We want to be able to have a plan to afford to do that.
And a lot of people think when you retire that your budget goes down. Most of the time it goes up. Right?
Because we're traveling and doing...
Yeah, you're like, I want to do the things I wanted to do my whole life, right? So it sometimes goes up. So we need to think about that as well.
What's our number 3? We've got great 1 and 2.
We're rolling here. So number 3 really is taxes and legacy. Now, might not be as fun as the first 2, but it's super important. So the thing about taxes is that you need to really think about it. And there's kind of a saying in our industry is that the most American thing you can do is pay the least amount of taxes to the government, right?
But what we want to do is really help our clients keep as much money in their own pockets or in the pockets of their heirs. So we have to think strategically about taxes because where you pull money from in retirement can make a huge impact on how much of your hard-earned money you keep in your pocket versus how much we're paying in taxes to the government.
There is legitimate strategy because most people have taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts. That's the big one. That's your 401ks, your IRAs, TSPs, whatever it might be, and then hopefully some tax-free accounts. And just by knowing, what strategy, which ones to pull from first, can really stretch out your portfolio a lot longer than you may realize.
Particularly if you believe, like we do, that taxes are going to continue to go up over time.
They will.
We want to take care of as much, paying taxes now to make tax-free income or tax-free growth, really can make a big difference. Tim, is this something you think might be good to show on your Retirement Ready Lightboard?
I think it's time for me to go to the Retirement Ready Lightboard and I can explain this in more detail, okay?
Sounds fantastic.
I'm going.
Thanks, Tim. And Laura, while he gets all set up over there.
We got him out of here.
Yes. Okay. I think we should talk about focusing on women and your services to help specifically those female clients. We have a question from Karen. Karen, are you there?
Hey, Laura, what are some common mistakes that women make during planning for retirement and how can I avoid them?
Well, that's a great question, Karen. The number one mistake I see women making is they just don't have a plan, or they just don't have the confidence to try to get their retirement questions answered. So the number one question we see from females, particularly given that women have that longevity, they live on average 5 to 7 years longer than men, is my money going to last for my lifetime, right? Because nobody wants to be, eating ramen noodles at the end of their life, right? We want to have them to have a long, full retirement life as women, no matter how long they live. And so what I find more so with our female clients than our male clients is women are so scared that the answer to the question is no, I don't have enough money, that they will bury their head in the sand and not get the answer because they just would rather not know. They would rather be a little bit ignorant than hear, no, you don't. 9 times out of 10, the answer is you have more than sufficient, money to last your retirement. Tim and I have the tools to be able to show that, to be able to run those projections. Most ladies at home can't. And when women come in and finally get the answer to that question that's maybe been keeping them up at night or has been worrying them, do I have enough money? When we can say with a pretty high degree of certainty, yes, you do, there's that sense of relief. And even those times where the answer is no, you don't, at least at that point in time, you can make changes. You can rely on a financial professional to help you say, okay, you're not there yet, but if you take this step and that step, and if we save here and reduce a budget here, or maybe work a couple of years longer than you wanted to because, we don't quite have those retirement savings we need, it's a relief even in that circumstance. So I think, the number one thing is just not really taking control of their finances and not relying on a retirement professional to help them do that. If you're one of those ladies out there, I find with my female clients, and one of the reasons, Michelle, that we've started this Women Get Retirement Ready program is that, there's shame for a lot of women that they don't necessarily understand their financial lives. Maybe they relied on a spouse or a partner and now they're divorced or widowed. Don't get me wrong, some females are out there, they are rocking it, they are the CFO of their household, but some ladies aren't, and there's a lot of shame in asking questions, particularly if they feel like their advisor might judge them or might make them just feel, less than confident or feel silly asking questions. At Preservation Retirement Services, whether you choose just to work with me, some ladies like to do that, work with me one-on-one, or work with Tim and I, we work great as a team for male and female clients alike. We try to create that space where it's a judgment-free zone where you can ask your questions and get the answers that are going to give you confidence moving forward.
I want to commend you for having that special focus to help the female clients out there that to have the courage to come in and have that conversation.
Yes, it's really important, and it's not something that we're really seeing a lot of other folks, unfortunately, in the retirement community here in Cleveland focus on. And for me, it's so important. It's what I love to do every day, just seeing that confidence across a woman's face when she maybe for the first time really understands her plan, why she has these particular investments, what her plan is for income and retirement planning and legacy. That's so important for many women, leaving a legacy on to their children. When we can say, with confidence, we have a plan so that you can leave, a legacy behind. It's just amazing. I love it.
Thank you so much. And I think Tim is ready for us over there at the Retirement Ready Lightboard.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining me on this week's episode of the Retirement Ready Lightboard. And the idea behind this segment is to try to explain some complex retirement topics visually, if you're a visual person like I am, to try to explain them. I'm going to handwrite them on the TV screen for you to try to make you understand them a little bit better. So today I want to talk about the three different tax buckets. And we always have three of them, okay? The first one is taxable. The second one is tax deferred. And the third one is tax free, which we all like, right? Now, there's different rules for each tax bucket. The first one, taxable, it just has to do with normal IRS tax rules. They apply. You pay taxes on your interest, your dividends, your capital gains each and every year. And these are your accounts like your CDs, your bank accounts, your non-qualified investment accounts. These are going to be your taxable accounts. Your tax-deferred accounts are the ones that most people have. These are your qualified accounts. These are your 401ks, your 403bs, your 457s, your TSPs, and then annuities. Blame the IRS. There's a lot of different accounts here. Most people have these. And these are when taxes are paid on your distributions in the future. You pay ordinary income tax on the principal and interest. And your last bucket is your tax-free bucket. This has to do with your Roth IRAs. And then life insurance retirement plans. Properly. Boop. There we go. Treat that like a P. Life insurance retirement plans. The idea is we want to move your money over from taxable possible to tax deferred to tax free. And the reason why tax free is so important is because in 2020, January 1, when the Secure Act went in place, a couple things happened. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is about when we leave money to our children. And if you're one of those individuals that is very lucky, you have a wonderful portfolio, and legacy is super important to you, and you want to leave money to your children, well, the rules change for you in a very big way. It used to be, before January 1 of 2020, when you left money to your children, we got to take that money and stretch it over our entire lives. It was known as a beneficiary IRA or a stretch IRA, but the rules changed. Now, the government wants their taxes more, right? They want that taxes faster. So when you leave money to your children, they have to spend that money down within 10 years. And that is a big difference because you're spending that money faster and it could definitely affect taxes. So if legacy is important to you, we want to take that money from taxable, tax deferred to tax free. So when we leave that money to our children, the principal and all interest to them is tax-free for legacy. Something to think about. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you next week.
All right, come back in here, Tim.
That's good.
I'm back.
That was so helpful how you drew out the buckets.
Well, I practiced because the buckets originally looked like purses when I started. So now hopefully they look more like buckets.
But in all
Designer person I know, right?
In all seriousness, though, I think this tax planning piece really is something that sets us apart from many advisors out there. Thinking about for clients proactively about taxes, not just blindly drawing money from here, there, everywhere, but coming up with a plan. Sometimes we find we can save hundreds of thousands of dollars for clients just by tax planning.
Yeah, it's a big deal. We love to talk taxes. We always joke it doesn't go very well when we get invited to cocktail parties, but it's our job. This is what we do for a living, and we do really like talking taxes.
And we appreciate that you're talking
Thank you.
taxes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. But first, if you're watching at home and you'd like to learn more from these fine folks, you can set up a call with Preservation Retirement Services and get answers to your specific questions about your retirement position. And so they can just call your number, right?
It's just one simple number, 440-345-6900.
You can call, you can text the word READY, and that number will send you a link for your own Retirement Ready toolkit.
And I think we should focus a little bit more on legacy. Can we do that after the break?
Let's do it. Come back.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be right back.
Women have a lot to be proud of. We get a lot done, but too many times we take care of ourselves last. If you're married, there's a good chance you'll outlive your spouse and all the financial decisions will fall to you. If you're single, it will be up to you to fund your entire retirement. That's a lot to carry by yourself. I'm Laura Schultz, and at Preservation Retirement Services, we can help to take some of that off your shoulders. It's time to put yourself first for once. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Welcome back to Retirement Ready TV, and let's talk about legacy and how that goes hand in hand with taxes.
It does. We talk about it a lot.
Yeah, well, a lot of people missed during COVID that there was a change in the law about IRAs, the Secure Act. And one thing that changed is it used to be a lot of people's money is wrapped up in tax-deferred accounts. This could be your traditional IRA, 401k, 403b.
Most people's money are in those accounts.
Yeah, that's where,
sure.
Folks have been encouraged to funnel all of their money, and those are tax-deferred accounts, meaning haven't paid taxes yet and will pay taxes upon distribution at whatever your ordinary income tax rate is. Well, the change in the law happened when it comes to most non-spousal beneficiaries. So if you're planning to leave your IRA to your children, for example, it used to be, for example, if Tim had inherited an IRA from his mother when she passed away 10 years ago, he was able to stretch out those distributions during his lifetime. So he had to take what's called a required minimum distribution, but he could take a little bit at a time every single year. So from a tax perspective, it wouldn't be a huge hit on him. But the law changed in 2019, right, Tim?
Yeah, so think about that. It was a big change, right? The government kind of snuck it in there. So like Laura was saying, you used to stretch that out your entire life, and it was referred to as like a stretch IRA or a beneficiary IRA. But they changed the rules on us. So now when our beneficiary are our children, they have to spend it down over 10 years. So think about that. That's a big difference. So let's just say, it's easy example. Let's say you left $1 million to your children, okay? $1 million over 10 years. Now, it's a little more complicated than this, but we'll keep it simple. $1 million over 10 years is $100,000 over 10 years, right?
So for those kids, it's like they're getting a $100,000 job.
On top of
they're already working. So if you have a child that's a doctor or successful, they're already in a high tax bracket. Imagine adding another $100,000 of taxable income on top of that. You're starting to get to where the government could be taking a third or more of your legacy away from your children. So what a lot of our clients are doing and what we're helping them work through as part of the tax planning part of our retirement ready roadmap plan is that they're thinking about paying taxes now on those traditional IRAs, doing what are called Roth conversions, because many of our clients in retirement, they're in that 12 or 22% tax bracket. Their taxable rate is so much lower than their children when they inherit this. So they're paying taxes now for the benefit of tax-free growth during our clients' lifetime, but really for legacy, for tax-free growth for their children is something really important to think about.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about taxes is that for the most part, you only pay them one time, right? You either pay them now or you pay them in the future, right? So if legacy is super important for you, and think about this, when we pass away, our children may be in those peak wage earning years that Laura mentioned, 30s, 40s, and dumping, in this example, extra $100,000 on top of their salary can really jump it up. If you convert that money to, tax-free money, like a Roth IRA, it's tax-free for you now and all the gains. But then when we pass away and it goes to our children, then it's tax-free for them as well.
This was so insightful. Thank you so much, Tim and Laura. Now, if folks at home want to connect with you, what should they do?
Like we say every week, it starts with one simple phone call, 440-345-6900.
And if you do want your mind blown, we're going to keep doing that, I guess. Again,
it's a good thing.
440-345-6900. You can call, you can text. If you'd like to text the word ready, you'll receive a simple form to fill out to receive your retirement ready toolkit, or you can use that number to schedule a no obligation introductory call. It all starts with a conversation with Tim and I to see if we're a fit to potentially do that tax planning we were talking about, to work together. We'd love to have that conversation with you. Or you can always visit us online, right, Tim?
Retirewithprs.com. Don't wait.
Today's the day.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.